All right, captains. So I am going to walk through how you should lead the process to fill out your group goal setting and training plan. I'm going to say it right now. Do not skip past the videos and just think you can fill this out and just fill it out for yourself, because that's not actually going to help you. I'm going to be telling you how you should be leading the actual discussions, how you should be leading each step, things you can say to help people participate, and that's what's the difference between you being a captain or not. And I don't care if you by yourself can fill this out. It's really about leading your group through it. So again, do not skip ahead, right? If you think you can just fill it out yourself and that's going to prove something, all it's going to prove is that we should probably find a new captain. So take this seriously, make sure you're paying attention and listening to everything I have to say here. All right, so first step when we're making a PLT field group goal and training plan is obviously the group goal brainstorm, right? So what's going to happen is every week you're going to sit down with your group, which is going to be either your sports team, if you're like a soccer captain, or your PLT captain, you'll get that group together. And you need to come up with the goal for that week's training with your group, okay? And the way it's going to look is you're going to start off with a brainstorm. Now, the brainstorm should not be just one or two people saying things out, right? You shouldn't just be in a clump where a couple people are sitting in the back not paying attention while three of you are actually talking to each other. Get people in a circle where you can see each other and hear each other, and it's your job as captain to make sure you hear from everybody. So for the brainstorm, you're going to spend just a couple minutes where people are going to shout out different things that they think you as a group need to get better at, or even just areas that they think as an individual they need to get better at. So let's give a couple examples. I think one that probably will come up a lot, right, is, I want to get stronger. So you can be stronger, strength, right? Conditioning, endurance, right? Those kinds of things. But also you want to make sure that, get all those kinds of things. Communication, you'll hear a lot, right? You're a team, you're not communicating well. It's okay for this part if you're a little vague, by the way. But you also want to push everyone and be like, okay, great, communication, endurance, strength, speed, right, that kind of thing. But then make sure you get in some brainstorms on things that are specific to your sport that you want to work on. So if you are, the soccer team, think about ball handling drills, think about, passing. Maybe some people want to do corner kicks, whatever. Like, it's going to depend on where you're at with your team and how far in the season you are, things like that. Right? Obviously, in the beginning of the year, you want to be doing more endurance and speed and things like that, but get more specific later. But still push people, right? Like maybe corner kicks a problem, basketball, free throws are probably a good thing besides just sort of basic dribbling. Football, now that's going to depend on your position, but maybe we are not spending very much time blocking. And by the way, the most important skill in football, if you're ever going to win anything, is blocking. So if you're just running, passing drills all the time, good luck ever winning anything. So just make sure that you're thinking about those things that you don't practice a lot or need to practice more, and get everybody in your group to spit out different ideas. If someone isn't really participating, it's up to you as a captain to call them out and be like, hey, so-and-so, what do you think is something that we should work on? And even if they just repeat something that somebody else said, at least they're participating in some way. You need to push everyone to be part of it, because if everyone just sits back and always lets the same three people come up with the goals, they're not going to be that invested, and down the line your team is going to pay for it. You need to make sure as a captain that you're building buy-in and getting everybody's voice heard. Okay, so that's the first part. You're going to just brainstorm, write down everything that people shout out. Doesn't matter if you think it's a particularly great thing to focus on or if other people don't either, right? Your job is to be like, okay, we're getting that on the list. People don't need to argue about it at that point. Doesn't really matter. We're trying to get as many ideas as possible, because chances are if someone just says something right off the bat, everyone will just say, oh, yeah, that's a thing we'll work on. And if you don't spend the time brainstorming and kind of getting a little deeper and getting to the point of like, oh, wait, we've never actually done any blocking drills or whatever, right, you're going to miss out probably on what you really do need to work on. So you're going to spend 2 to 3 minutes just brainstorming, coming up with all the different things you need to work on or things that you haven't worked on yet. Okay. The next step, once you've brainstormed, again, for a full 2 minutes at least, getting everybody involved, calling on people that haven't been throwing in ideas, you've got this big list, then you're going to do goal selection. Okay. That's when you're going to choose the focus area above that you think is the most important. Now, again, it's not who you as a captain thinks is the most important. It's what your whole team thinks is most important. So again, this better be a conversation, and it better involve everybody else in your group. If it's just you and a couple other people talking and making the decision, again, you're not doing a very good job of leading, and your group is not going to be that invested in the goal, and they're not going to work as hard, right? If you want your team to be strong, you as a captain need to push that by getting everybody involved and talking to as many people as possible. I don't know how many times I just see a couple people talk in a group and come up with all the goals and all the plans while no one else is part of it, and guess what? They end up either not following through or kind of doing a pretty bad job of it later on. You need to get everyone involved. So when choosing the goal, you're going to look at all these different pieces, right? And have everybody talk it out. You're going to have a discussion. So you can start it out of maybe people sort of throwing some votes on what they think is something important. Give everybody multiple votes the first time. Don't just give them one. And they can kind of start that way of choosing like, oh yeah, that is something that we need to work on. And it is your job as a captain to push them. Maybe nobody wants to work on blocking, right? That's not as fun. Although, I mean, to be honest, it actually is fun if you do it right. But say for football, nobody wants to do blocking skills, right? And they don't want to get better at it. And that's why you don't practice it. If you only do a brainstorm and focus on goals that you want to work on and not necessarily that you need to work on, that's a problem. And so you as a captain need to push a little harder here and be like, hey, remember when we're choosing this goal that it's got to be something we need to get better at. And you know what? Someone mentioned blocking. That's something we have never practiced. I think that's really important. What do you all think, right? And just, again, you need to get everybody else involved, but really it is also your job to push and make sure that you don't just keep doing this drills or working on things that are fun, like more fun to practice, right? You should not be doing corner kicks all day, every day, right, if you're a soccer team, because ultimately you're not doing corner kicks all day, every day on the field, right? Like there's a lot of really basic fundamentals that you need to get first, right? Same thing with this. So again, with all your group members, everyone's going to kind of have a discussion. You're going to vote a little bit and decide, okay, what is the most important thing for us to work on right now? Okay, so I'm going to keep going with the football analogy just because that's a sport I happen to play. Okay, so say we come up with blocking, okay? We all decide that is the most important thing for us right here. And this is the key. You need to write an explanation why that is the goal you chose. Why is that more important than the other thing? So, you know, as I was talking before, blocking for us, maybe we have not practiced it at all. Right, that'd be a great reason, right? And it's half the game, right, or something like that. Please write better than I am right now. Another thing you can be putting, right, like if it's, you know, you decide you need to work on free throws, I mean, a lot of these things, if you're playing a sport, might be based on what happened the week before in a game or a scrimmage, right? When we played, you know, we realized, like, you know, we were missing all our passes, or, you know, communication broke down and we started yelling at each other, whatever, right? Like, use some evidence, like, relate it to something else that's happening. So we have not practiced it, that's something that's happened, and it's half the game. Or when we played last week, everybody kept getting beat off the ball, and we couldn't even get past the line of scrimmage. Our quarterback keeps getting sacked, whatever, okay? Boxing, right? Like, we keep doing our jab, but our footwork is garbage, and no one can get, you know, back off and keep space and distance, right? Whatever. But you need to be really clear with an argument as to why you made the decision that this is more important than the other things. Okay, and it's important that you talk that out with everybody, and everybody's agreed, okay, yeah, that is more important, and we're agreed on the reason. Because, again, if you're not all agreed on the reason, if you just push it through because you're the captain and you say so, or 3 or 4 of you have that conversation, the rest of the people say, oh, I don't really care, what's going to happen is they're not really going to care about the workouts going forward, and they're not actually going to get better at that thing. Okay, so again, as captains, it's really important that you do a good job of picking something meaningful here that really is important and something you need to work on, and again, not just want to work on, with a good reason that everyone agrees to. Okay, so once you have that, then the next step is to make a SMART goal out of it, right? Now, you've been over the SMART goals probably a billion times now, right? You're going to create one SMART goal that's specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, etc. The measurable is a really good way to make sure that you're being specific enough. for your SMART goal. So you're going to turn this into a SMART goal, because saying we're going to get better at blocking, we're going to work on blocking drills, that's not a goal. So maybe what we want to say is, this week's SMART goal for blocking is every member of our group will get in, I don't know, 30 reps on 2-point blocking drills, right? Like from a 2-point stance. Or, if you want to be a little more specific in a different way, maybe there's a specific set of footwork that you're going to master, right? Every member of our group will master blank footwork. Something like that, right? Again, if you're talking about like corner kicks, I don't recommend that being your first goal for the soccer team, but every member of our group will make one corner kick during the course of the drill. Something like that. Again, very specific and measurable, right? That's something that you definitely will know you can get. Because again, if you just say we're going to get better at blocking, I don't know what that really means, right? If we just want to get stronger, I don't really know what that means, right? This is one thing. Like for strength or speed, right? You might want to set a goal. You're going to be like, well, everybody's at different levels. How can we all have the same strength goal? And so what I would say to that is it's the growth, right? So you could say everybody will increase their push-ups by 1 rep this week, right? Or everyone will be able to do 2 more push-ups at the end of this week than they do at the beginning, or whatever. Keep it realistic, right? Speed. Everybody is going to cut their, shuttle time by, 0.3 seconds, whatever. Again, make sure it's really realistic. Think through where people are at and what you can actually do in a week. But again, if you're trying to figure out how do I have a group goal for something like speed or strength, really think of how that relates to what they can cut down in time and growth. Okay. Finally, the measure of success for your goal. Again, this is part of a SMART goal, but again, it's a great way to check that you've got it. So how are you going to know without a doubt that your whole group has achieved the goal by the end of this week? Okay, so in this case, if I write this goal right, it should be really obvious. And I could say, well, we track reps, and we'll see that everyone did 30, right? Or strength or speed, growth, right? We will time at the beginning of the week, and at the beginning of the week, at the end of the week, we'll time again, and we will see, difference. Or we will test max push-ups at this point, or how long we can hold it, whatever, right? Really think about those. So there should be something about a start point, end point. You need to be getting data and tracking that somehow for most of your measures of success. Again, if it's specific reps, now it might not be a start point, end point, but you're tracking. So remember that this measure of success is going to put it on you to figure out how are you going to track your success, okay, for the group. So once you have that, and again, if this is really hard for you to figure out what your measure of success is, that means you probably didn't do a very specific SMART goal. And again, a non-specific SMART goal is just a waste of your time. It's not really going to get you anywhere. So really work on that. And then think about how am I going to track things to have an accurate measure of success. All right, so then you move to the backside. Now the backside is just setting up your workout for the week, this week's training plan. If you notice on the side, it says Monday, Wednesday 1, Monday, Wednesday 2, Monday, Wednesday 3, Tuesday, Friday 1, Tuesday, Friday 2, Tuesday, Friday 3. So what's going to happen is you're going to have come up with 6 different exercises that you are going to do throughout the week. And now you really want to think about it because you're going to balance. You're going to be going every other day on this stuff. So you need to have some sort of balance. What I recommend in terms of balance is that basically the third exercise for each day, right? This third one is maybe skill related, right? So specific skill that relates to your sport, All right, and then the other ones are maybe more general, like speed, footwork, agility, endurance, strength, those kinds of things, right? Make sure it's well balanced between those. And to help you keep it balanced, right, on the side here, you notice it has your target area, strength, speed, endurance, skill. So that will help you remind yourself, if you have written in here strength, 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 that's a big issue, because yes, even if you have a strength goal, you want to have a few more exercises that are focused on strength. But if they're all on strength, again, you're not going to be well balanced, and you're not going to help yourself. There's going to be something else that is going to hurt you in the week to come. So you got to make sure your exercises are balanced. Okay. So again, when you're coming up with these exercises, and I recommend just use exercises you've already done. Right? If they're skill related, those will be ones that'll be a little bit different from what you've done with the rest of PLT together. But the other ones, just use ones you know. There's nothing wrong with doing the same drill multiple times, right? Like weeks in a row. Because as long as it's working the area that you want to work on, it doesn't matter if you're doing some repetition, right? Like sprints are always helpful, right? Running bleachers is always going to be a good workout, even if you've done it a bunch of times in a row. Key though is it needs to link up to your SMART goal, right? So I need to think, well, if our SMART goal, right, is about getting in 30 reps on 2-point blocking drills, then my skill-related drills for this week better be blocking drills, right? And again, it asks for name of exercise and description. I'm being really vague here. Please don't be vague. Be specific. Write down blocking drills and then describe exactly what drills, right? So one-on-one blocking with a quarterback, maybe then one-on-one blocking and trying to get to a running back, downfield blocking, receiver blocking with a running back coming up, whatever, right? Be very specific on the drill, and if you're stuck, that's where you want to be checking in with Coach Martinez, right, and figuring out, okay, what's a drill that we can work on that will really help us with that. And so if I'm filling this out, so say I'm doing blocking drills, I say it's 2-point stance, one-on-one, okay? Then count, set, reps, or time, right? I might not be able to figure out exactly, but we were talking about reps as our goal, right? So maybe it is, we're just calling 15 reps per student, right? And then after that, we're done. And then to get our 30, 15 reps per student down here, where we have our other skill, right, and our other blocking. Okay? Other way you could do it, right, is by time. So we're going to be doing, 10 minutes of suicides, right? Or sets and reps. We're going to do 20 sets of 10 push-ups, right? So there's different ways you can do it, but make sure you have some sort of count. That's either by sets, reps, or time, or maybe a combination of those. All right, be really clear. Be clear about how long are you going to do rests, right? If you're doing sets and reps, 1-minute rests, 30-second rests, whatever. And then finally, the last piece, again, target area. So in this case, we're talking about blocking drills. That's a skill. So I write that there, skill, which means I should not have any more skill drills, right? That means I need to have probably at least one strength drill. You need to be always conditioning, so I'd say make sure there's an endurance drill, like conditioning drill every time, and then maybe you have a speed drill here, right? So here's strength, endurance, skill for these 2 days a week, and then endurance, speed over here. Okay, now that I know that's balanced, now I go back and maybe I can then match what I want to work on. So endurance, right? Maybe we're doing a mile or something like that. Whatever, okay? So this is how you're going to fill this out. Again, you're going to be doing this every week, and you as captains are responsible for carrying this out and the quality of what you write here, okay? If you're handing in some garbage and your group is not getting together a really good plan, it's not clear, you don't have a way to track it, you're not being specific about sets and reps and time, you're not holding people to it, not only are you going to get a terrible workout, but honestly, probably we'll be looking for a different captain who can help their group get together. But again, if you're having trouble, you should be checking in with Coach Martinez, getting some help from him. You shouldn't just be trying to handle it yourself if it's just not working out, okay? Especially if there's like one individual that's a problem. So, with that, your homework, okay, is to fill out an example one of these. So think through. So again, you're not going to walk through with everybody for this first homework assignment, right? But your goal is over the course of this week, by Friday, you need to fill out one of these for your group, all right? Get your group's input, really figure out a general plan, right? Because then you're going to be sharing next week with your group. You're going to be showing them how to do this, and you're going to be walking them through the process. So what's going to happen is basically every Monday, you're going to be filling out this goal sheet and figuring it out with your group. Every Friday, you're going to be getting your data together and handing this off to Coach Martinez to see if you're achieving your goal, if you have a good plan. Right? He'll check it on Mondays, but it's on Fridays that you're going to get it back to him with your data to start saying, like, are you really coming up with meaningful goals, and are you following through? All right? So good luck with that. If you have any questions, you can email me at gcallaham@alphapublicschools.org, or again, check in with Coach Martinez. Good luck, and hope you do well with this, captains.